And now it's time for the Bayou Crime Report. Hammond police officer arrested and accused of participating in cockfighting. A Hammond police officer was arrested after they were allegedly allegedly involved in a cockfighting ring. The officer, who was not named, was arrested by the Louisiana Bureau of Investigation and Homeland Security investigations on warrants that stemmed from cockfighting incidents. The officer was placed on administrative leave. The officer faces several counts, including misuse of state computer systems and retaliation against a witness. Jeez Louise. You keep your mouth shut. The Hammond Police Department cooperated with the investigation, according to officials. The city directed questions about the arrest to Homeland Security Investigations in Gulfport. What are they going to tell him? Yeah, this cop was involved in getting chickens to fight. Yeah, that's what he did. So no other information about the arrest nor the officer's alleged role in the cockfighting incidents was released. The Department of Homeland Security did not immediately return a request for comment. Now, Homeland Security, I guess, has a purview over the competence of law enforcement. So you have a police officer who's corrupt here, and I guess that fell on their desk. Along with, and now Louisiana Bureau of Investigation, that of course, for them to oversee other, Louisiana law enforcement. So it made sense that they were there, but I guess they fall under the umbrella of Homeland Security as well. So that's probably the connection there. But cockfighting ring, complete with cock rings. But it is interesting the way the article's written. They were allegedly, it doesn't say police officers were busted. It's kind of like that. A Hammond police officer, after they were allegedly involved in a cockfighting ring. So if it was like several police officers, they would be the cockfighting ring. They all got together. Let's get them chickens in there and let them go. And put razor blades in their little claws, their talons, and then place bets on which cock is going to survive. So that's the deal. Boy, it really looks bad on the Department of Wonder Owners. Boy, it's a tough job in law enforcement. You want to blow off steam, but I guess just, getting a beer and watching football is not going to cut it. You want to watch, some chickens fight. So I guess that's what he did. The Bayou Crime Report is a presentation of Nailsin Productions.
Y'all come back now. Come back now. You hear?
And now it's time for
Creeps and widows getting all creepy and weird. Sluts selling butts, them buttholes done been sold. Dogs breeding like bugs, or rabbits or coat hangers. Killers killing and killing and killing. Nailsin News. 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 Where'd all the money go? Ain't nobody gonna know. Do you trust your meat to take a walk down the street? Do you trust your meat to take a walk down the street while killers be killing and killing and killing? Nailsin News. 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 News.
Oh, thank God, there I am. Jeez Louise. Sometimes it takes forever to find the little camera thing. Yeah. Well, anyway, there we go. Time now for Nailsin News. Apologies to Pat Dixon. I didn't see the link until too late. And once again, I failed miserably. I did manage to catch the opening of the show and a little bit of the conversation. So, there's that. Boy, one of the things that keeps reminding me is that we're going to really miss Sora, because of all those pumpkin spice heroin videos. I mean, they're amazing. And damn it all, And there was a couple of other ones I hadn't seen before, and it was just great, It just goes to show you Pat Dixon could have been a major star, but I don't know. The whole concept of stardom, died before he got his chance. It's too bad. But these things happen, and that's life, isn't it? But boy, I tell you, that opening bit where he's like a detective, and I guess that's supposed to be me as his boss. I always thought that would make for a good show. In fact, it's too bad that Sora's gone, because you could add Levy in there as his partner, so it's like Dixon Levy. And they're cops on the mean streets of whatever. And I'm the exasperated police captain who has to, always haul them in and yell at them. And Dixon, Levy, get in here. And, you're out of control. I'm done with you. Damn it. I can't stand it anymore. I'm going to give you one more chance. It's always like that, And I can't believe you're my best detectives, And, I'm always on the verge of a stroke and stuff like that. And all hilarity ensues. And then they go off and accidentally solve the case and stuff like that. And that's got the makings of a great show, I think, But alas, I guess until some other, I don't know if Grok could pull that off. Did anyone have a premium Grok account? Instead, do that. I don't know. But those are great. Those are great little segments they got there. I'll have to try to catch up on the show in its entirety, if that's possible. I don't know. I'm a very, very busy man. It's sad, really. But then what if I wasn't? Then what would I do? I don't know. A whole lot of nothing. My God. Wow. Doing nothing. That's the dream, isn't it? Yeah. Well, anyway, I got Nailsin News to do because, that's what I put in the title for that very reason. So basically the stories are, I think, for the most part, if I remember correctly, which is somewhat dubious, it's all about relationships going wrong, It's a sad, sad story, to go this wrong. Mostly either ending in attempted murder or full-on murder. Boy, you really don't want to see that, but it does happen. And it's really sad. Once they were in love. You were the most important person in the world to me. Perhaps the universe. See, the perhaps, that's probably the first beginning of the problem there. But anyway, and then next thing you know, guns, knives, poison, all that stuff. Well, there's no way to say it's any good. But, So anyway, Nodak once again reminds everybody to hit the like button. Ravenous says, Douglas. That's right, Ravenous. I'm Douglas. Ravenous says, wow, a corrupt cop. No way. How's that happen? Must be rare. Well, it was in New Orleans, so... Hey, look, it's not as bad as it used to be. A while back, they had this massive scandal, because they were, they were putting out hits on people, witnesses, to the drug dealers they were beating the crap out of and stealing their money and stuff. Of course, it was ill-gotten gains, sure, but they ended up pretty much running the drugs in... and all that sort of stuff. Eventually, the feds came and put the clamp down, When they started murdering witnesses, that's when they ran into trouble, So, supposedly that's over now. That's been a while. Yeah. So, it's probably over. Now we got people who can't keep the prisoners in jail. This recent case they had, I'll have a video on that too. Another one got out. They just let him go because of some clerical error, and he ended up turning himself back in. They didn't have to hunt him down or nothing. Hey, we made a mistake. Okay, I'll come back. Hey, that worked out, Oh, well, anyway, there we go. Nodike says, there's Doug. Oh, that's right. There he is. All right, so I guess we'll do this thing. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, I didn't want to do this one first. This is one of those lighthearted stories that, and it's about science and stuff. So you might want to stick around for the final story because you might actually learn something. I mean, maybe I will too. You never know. All right, I got to dig through all this, rigmarole, whatever. Wow, it's still got the title of the last story I did. That's stupid. All right. So anyway, yeah, we'll start right off with these terrible stories about, come on, you got to do, this is it. I guess I got to hit properties. Maybe that. Get out of jail free and kick her out of the house. So here he is. Yeah, I'm a judge, damn it. You don't judge me. I judge you. A federal administrative law holds 79 stands accused of one count of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon causing bodily harm to an elderly person. Well, yeah, his wife. They're both elderly. Anyway, the incident occurred on a Sunday morning at the couple's house on Southwest 17th Street in Miami. Law enforcement arrived at the scene in response to a domestic violence call and quickly learned the victim was receiving medical treatment at a nearby urgent care facility. There, police spoke with the wife. The victim stated she has been married to the defendant for over 14 years and that they reside together. Well, most married couples do. They do not have children in common. In common? Okay. She advised that there have been prior physical altercations between them, but she never reported any incidents to law enforcement. The victim then described her husband as impulsive, aggressive, and having a drinking problem. On today's date, she and the defendant became involved in a verbal argument that escalated into a physical altercation. Around 6 a.m. on the day in question, the victim woke up, and shortly thereafter, the argument began. In an attempt to avoid the confrontation, she went into the kitchen. The defendant followed her, grabbed her by the left shoulder, where she attempted to defend herself by blocking him with her left arm. The defendant then armed himself with a butter knife that was on the kitchen counter and cut her left arm. Well, you got to understand, elderly people, the skin is not as tough as it used to be. It's a lot of times it's very thin. So, yeah, I guess a butter knife could do that. So anyway, after the attack, the wife fled. First to a neighbor's house, where her neighbor saw that she was bleeding from her arm and was visibly shaking in fear. The neighbor then contacted the victim's ex-husband That's the one she probably has the kids with, with whom she still has a good relationship. Uh-oh. The ex-husband was told the victim was bleeding from her arm. So he came over and escorted her to the urgent care facility. In a police interview, the ex-husband said he saw dried blood on her hands when he arrived. The ex-husband also stopped at the victim's residence to collect some of her belongings and came across the defendant. When the ex-husband asked Folds what had happened, the defendant allegedly replied, "We have been fighting." Folds was subsequently found by police, still at home, and arrested. During a custodial interview at the Miami Police Department, he was Mirandized and denied the allegations. The defendant appeared before the judge, discussed bond, related matters, blah, blah, blah. He says, "You can't let me go with my own recognizance since I'm a judge?" The defendant asked. "What kind of judge are you?" Glazer? Mindy Glazer? Oh, Mindy Glazer is the judge, she asked. "I'm a Medicare administrative law judge for 21 years, Folds replied. After a bit more discussion on the issue, the court decided against the request. "So, I don't know. I don't think so. I probably set a bond based on what I read here. I think that the victim was stabbed with a knife, a butter knife," Glazer said. In the end, Glazer set a $2,500 bond for Folds that was quickly paid. He is no longer in pretrial detention. Well, yeah, he bonded out. The next hearing in his case will be scheduled later. Anyway, a condition of his bond, however, prompted another notable back and forth. "Listen, I'm a judge. I have to have some place to live, so she sometimes lives there, but she can't go over to her son's house, where she often stays," Folds told Glazer at one point during the hearing. "The local judge was not having it. I can't force her out of her house. The victim has a superior right over the owner of the home if they're a victim of domestic violence," Glazer explained, denying the defendant's request. Yeah. Well, at the motel, if you're really broke or whatever, I mean, you had the $2,500. Of course, that'll put a hole in the wallet. I don't know. The turquoise person waving. It is interesting that it does it like that, though. In the Rumble Track Studio thing. That's what I'm using this time around. I mean, usually it doesn't have the bells and whistles of EB Mux. That's true. But then it doesn't have the technical hang-ups either. So, yep, there it is. It's like, hey, like that. And, yep. And Nodak salutes. Crouching Taylor Hidden Swift. Yeah. Oh, well, anyway, by the way, now's an important time to make mention. The show is brought to you by Super Tip. Yes, Super Tip. That delightful means by which you can toss some love and support to your favorite creator and artist and whatever the hell. And all that stuff. And you can ask a question, make a comment, whatever. And you can do it, with a text message if you prefer. But then there's also those Super Tip voices. Oh yeah. And you can use those delightful characters to deliver your message that way. Oh, it's a lot of fun. And also, image tip. Ah, yes, you can put up an image right there for all to see. And don't worry, even if you're not an artist like me, you don't have to be, because the AI application within Super Tip is there for you to provide you with the capability of producing whatever image you want. It's got, some to anybody really, but why not me? And so there you go. You too can send an image. Doesn't have to be me as a gas station per se, but if you feel so inclined, you can. All right, well, that's it for the judge who didn't want to be judged. But oh boy, he's gonna be. Oh boy. But, there's other types of relationships out there. And those can go bad too, even though they might be referred to as alternative lifestyles. Healthcare executive drugged, strangled by husband who staged sex studio crime scene. A Florida man is accused of drugging his husband, healthcare executive, and LGBTQ, oh, you forgot the plus, that's a problem, advocate Timothy Smith, then strangling him and staging the scene inside a private apartment used for sexual encounters to make the killing appear like a consensual hookup gone wrong. Investigators are now saying in the new A&E series, Killer Investigations. Hey, these investigations are killer. The investigation into the murder of Smith is featured in the newly released episode Murder in the Sex Studio. Detectives and Smith's husband, Herbert Swilly, used a lethal... detectives said... Oh, man, I read that wrong. Detectives and Smith's husband. Boy, they all conspired to kill this guy. No, they said Smith's husband, Herbert Swilly, used a lethal dose of an allergy medicine to incapacitate Smith before killing him and staging the crime scene. So this guy was incapacitated, so he had... I don't wonder if he was still conscious, though. I don't know. Maybe slightly. And there was nothing he could do. And so his supposed beloved was strangling him to death. So anyway, he wanted to make it look like the victim had met up with an anonymous person for a sexual meeting. Sergeant Daniel Pender, an investigator in the Marion County Sheriff's Office, said. Candy Baker, a close friend, recalled learning of Smith's death and the days that followed. When I got the call that he was gone, I just fell to my knees and screamed, Baker said. There wasn't a person he wouldn't help. Baker also described what she said was troubling behavior by Swilly after the killing, including efforts to remove or dispose of Smith's personal belongings quickly. It was like everything had to go immediately, Baker said. Another friend, Michael Orsini, a prominent member of the LGBTQ community and drag entertainer who performs at Twilla Holiday, praised Smith's advocacy. He loved the feathers, the sequins, the rhinestones, Orsini said. When it came to Tim, he was the life of the party. If he had the chance to get up and dance, he absolutely took it. The episode takes viewers through the investigation, including dramatic body camera footage of deputies entering the apartment and processing the crime scene. He was left there naked, exposed. Now, and he had been strangled, the sheriff's department said. Swilly was later convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. So here they give all the details of the... This is just an ad for the show, really. The Killer Investigations, oh boy. Emmy and Peabody award-winning journalist Brian Ross examines major homicide cases through law enforcement interviews and all that stuff. So anyway, that's what they took a look at. And so this guy, I guess the apartment, oh jeez. Yeah, it's got some sort of contraption there. It looks like a toolbox over there. Now there's a cot used for, well, I guess massages, but maybe something else here. So I guess this was like a well-known, well, I guess this homosexual couple, and one murdered the other one and all this stuff. And it's all being featured in this cool new show. Be sure to check it out. So it's not really an article. It's just an ad. Nodak, you got murder in my sex room. Well, you got sex in my murder room. See, that's a better title. That's a good one, Nodak. Don't bring murder to my sex room. Yeah, I guess it sounds like a lot of people use that room for that very purpose because it's got all the toys and everything already there. And so now I'm wondering if any of them are like, it's just not the same. But the name's Swilly. It's like, this is the Swilly case. Yeah. Oh, man, what a mess. At least the woman, she broke down and cried. The drag queen just, hey, he really loved the feathers and sequins, and boy, could he dance. It's like, okay, but, well, whatever. I mean, look, I guess sometimes, eulogies and stuff, they'll go over what your passions in life were and stuff like that, And a lot of times there's jokes and whatnot, So, but, yeah, I mean, he was murdered. It's not like he had a heart attack or anything, but, oh, well. Anyway, they got the guy, so... Yeah, he got some amount of justice there, but it doesn't really do him much good now because he's dead. That's unfortunate. But there's other terrible ends for relationships. Possibly worse than that, though. Well, the first two, anyway. Lyft driver picking up woman holding suitcase with her boyfriend's remains inside gets told the odor is because of dirty, wet clothes. Turns out it wasn't dirty, wet clothes. I mean, maybe he was wearing, at that point, dirty, wet clothes because, he'd been murdered. But, well, let's find out. After Pennsylvania police found a man's body stuffed in a suitcase, they identified the suspect as his caregiver and girlfriend, believing she shot him before dumping his remains with the help of her family. Jeez Louise. So it's a whole conspiracy, Well, Lisa Ridley, 53, has been charged with murder in the death of 53-year-old Vincent Good. She also faces charges including possession of a crime. Possession of a crime? Maybe they mean the weapon? I don't know. Anyway, possession of a crime with intent, abuse of a corpse, conspiracy to abuse a corpse. Well, yeah, I guess so. After you've done it, then did the family members also obstructing the administration of a law or other governmental function and tampering with or fabricating physical evidence? Well, there are three other defendants in the case. 55-year-old Bernadette Ridley, Lisa Ridley's sister, 32-year-old Lisa Robinson, Lisa Ridley's daughter, and 33-year-old Neas Daniels, I guess, the daughter's boyfriend. They all face charges, including tampering with evidence and obstruction of justice. Boy, that's something is the daughter's boyfriend. She's like, hey, we got to go help my mama out. Okay, what's the deal? You need some furniture moved or something? Nah, we got to dump her boyfriend's body. All right, then. Greco and Neas, whatever. Good, the victim, and the defendants all lived at a home on the 5700 block of Leonard Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Lisa Ridley was not only the caregiver for Good, who was a hand and leg amputee, but she was also his girlfriend. Investigators believe that Liza Ridley shot Good multiple times in the head in the home and then, with help from her family, stuffed his body into a suitcase. Liza Ridley allegedly requested a vehicle through Lyft, a rideshare company, to pick her up with the luggage in tow. The bag that she took was placed in the back of that Lyft vehicle, said a district attorney, Sidney Pope. The Lyft driver immediately smelled a horrible smell. Asked about the smell, the answer to that question was, oh, I'm sorry, it's dirty, wet clothes. There's just no way you can mistake that smell of death. But this does bring up the question, how long did they wait to, I got to get rid of the body. I know, I'll call a Lyft driver. Like, what, a couple of days later? Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, the ride went on, and Liza Ridley reportedly exited the vehicle and dumped the luggage on the 600 block of East Hilton Street, about 3 miles away in the city. And by the following morning, when a nearby resident discovered the luggage, it was covered in flies. Oh, my God. The Philadelphia Police Department was called, and officers began investigating. When they opened the suitcase, they found the human upper torso of Good inside. Ooh. Officers further discovered additional human remains in an early stage of decomposition inside 2 large trash bags. You mean along with the suitcase or stuffed inside with the torso? Anyway, the Philadelphia Office of the Medical Examiner identified the victim as Good, his name, and ruled his death a homicide caused by multiple gunshot wounds. As authorities released information to the public in hopes of uncovering new leads, the Lyft driver reportedly contacted police. She finished the Lyft drive, dropped off the individual, took a picture of her because she thought it was so odd, everything about it, Pope recounted. And the next day, after it was reported on the news, is when she contacted the police department and said, I have information. I really think that this is the person who dropped that bag off. Investigators went to the Leonard Street home and spoke with neighbors who apparently had been curious about an odor at the residence. Ew. It smelled like a dead body. It was funky, one neighbor told the area ABC affiliate WPVE. VE. God. It was horrible. It took me 2 to 3 days to get the smell out of my house. Holy crap. It smelled horrible, added another. I didn't know if it was dead mice. I didn't know if it was the basement because of the dogs. Days later, authorities executed a search warrant at the home in question and found that the property was very, very clean. Because most of the property around there is filthy, I guess. I don't know. The defendants allegedly admitted to cleaning the house up and removing the mattress that Good had been on, and they were arrested. Speaking of Liza Ridley, Pope said, she ultimately admitted to shooting the decedent in the head. The assistant district attorney added that the case is still being investigated, including what I'm going to call the fraud aspect, given that the woman was being paid for her services. So not really a girlfriend, but we are still looking into financial motivations for this murder, Pope said. Authorities hope to get more information soon about how long Good was dead before his body was found and how he was dismembered. Well, probably some blades, a saw was probably used in that. But there again, of course, they probably would be able to identify the corpse. So eventually, like, hey, that's that guy from Leonard Street. Let's head over there. And they're like, oh, my God, he's been missing. We didn't know what happened. And you didn't call us and tell us anything? Yeah, I was going to get to that. Yeah, they still probably would have been caught. So, oh, well, anyway, gee, what a mess, And, well, it's disgusting. And she just apparently was going to get some money out of him from his death, I guess. I don't know. I suppose later she'll come up with some story about he was really abusive. Well, he only had one leg and he was missing a hand, so yeah. Nodak says, oof, I feel sorry for her next boyfriend, husband. She comes with a lot of baggage. This is true, Nodak. I mean, my God. But you know how these things go. There's a guy out there who's going to give her a shot. It's like, what's her face? Oh, yeah, a while back that Susan Smith was trying to get paroled, the woman who drowned her boys over a rich boyfriend. And that sort of thing. And she's got several men in love with her. I mean, it's like you hear about this all the time with these horrible murderers who are in prison, and yet there's women who send them love letters and they're just deeply in love with him, and some of them even married them and stuff like that. And it was only a handful compared to the men get way more attention than the female prisoners do in that regard. At least to the extent that the guy is actually like deeply infatuated with her. And this one guy he was heartbroken to learn there were other suitors writing her letters and seeing her at prison. And she was upset because when the men found out about each other, they didn't show up to be character witnesses for her. And, the hope in the hopes that she could get parole. So, it does happen. Ravenous says Douglas. Ravenous says chat. Yeah. It's the chat. All right. Oh, what else do we have? Well, this one's just weird. That's weird too. This is weird. Okay, I thought I had more of these cases I guess not. Yeah, we're just going into the weird crap. Yeah. Oh, this is a repeat. I don't need that. I don't think so. Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. All right, so that's it for relationships going bad. It's sad. Your most trusted person and your soulmate and all that, and then it ends in murder, usually over money, stuff like that. Sometimes infidelity, that can happen. Then the seething rage and hatred that manifests, It's a terrible thing, but it happens. Anyway, it's got nothing to do with this. This is just some crazy bitch. So we'll see what her story is. Woman who followed 79-year-old man home from grocery store broke into, and she said he deserved it. Well, looking at her mugshot, I can already see the crazy. It's there. She's got a little smile, but that just makes it worse, A North Carolina woman smiled with satisfaction when asked if she was trying to kill the 79-year-old man she followed home from a grocery store. Then broke into his home and strangled him. Kayla Rose Bissett, 36, is charged with attempted murder, breaking and entering, robbery, and assault by strangulation. Officers with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department responded to an apartment in the 1400 block of Murdoch Road for a robbery call. The victim told cops he was walking home from a Food Line grocery store located at 3009 The Plaza in Charlotte when a woman asking for money began following him. Oh, boy. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's always creepy, isn't it? So anyway, when he arrived home, he tried to close the front door, but Bissett forced her way in. She allegedly pushed him onto his bed, jumped on top of him, and began to strangle him. According to the complaint, Bissett then reached into the victim's pockets and took all his money and left his home. Detectives found the suspect at a bus stop near the grocery store. She had bloody hands. Investigators also recovered video from the Food Line showing the suspect. After receiving her Miranda warnings, Bissett allegedly admitted to breaking into the victim's home and trying to kill him while stealing his money. Bissett was asked if it was her intent to kill the victim, and she did not deny attempting to kill him and smiled with satisfaction when asked if that was her intent. Bissett stated multiple times that she did not regret what she did and that the victim deserved it. The suspect was arrested and taken to the Charlotte Mecklenburg jail, where she's being held without bond. Yeah, she needs to stay there. Because just don't engage. Don't make eye contact. Don't do anything. Especially if, you're elderly and frail and stuff. You're not going to be able to fight off this witch, and that kind of thing. So you just get home as fast as you can, shut that door, and bolt it shut. Yeah, maybe get a pit bull, but then the pit bull might turn on you, and you're really old and stuff. But we need to let people arm themselves. That's what we need to do. That's just the way it is, because even the women are threats, especially with crazy eyes and stuff, and they're out there. So anyway, the ravenous ones, the 73-year-old lady died getting a coffee and a donut. She started a punch on, didn't go well for her. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the story. The ravenous, I became Mormon. You can have 90 wives. Well, I thought they stopped doing that. I mean, I know some of them still do it, but well, whatever. I guess whatever sect you're in, Baxo Jazz says, all hail Baxo Jazz. I hope everyone is well. Well, I'm doing better than others, especially in these stories, So yeah, I guess doing pretty good. All right, who else is in trouble? Oh, well, lots of people, Yeah, it's a sad commentary on society today. But let's comment more. Woman wakes up to find herself being restrained by home intruder who brought a large kitchen knife and 12-foot extension cord. Well, that's just not something you want to wake up to, ever. A man will spend the rest of this decade behind bars after breaking into a mother and daughter's Pennsylvania home in what prosecutors called a woman's worst nightmare. Nafis Lamont Dante Fisher. That's too many names, 34 was sentenced by Bucks County Common Pleas Judge Wallace H. Bateman Jr. to 4.5 to 10 years in state prison, followed by a consecutive 5 years of probation. He's only going to do the 4.5, you know that, right? And then the defendant previously pled guilty to charges including burglary, aggravated assault, robbery, criminal trespassing, theft by unlawful taking, which, is theft, receiving stolen property, and simple assault. Simple. There wasn't nothing simple about this. So anyway, at about 2:45 a.m. on October 7th, 2025, a woman and her daughter were at their home on the 200 block of Miller Drive in Upper Southampton Township, Pennsylvania. Prosecutors said that the daughter, who was 25 years old, awoke to find Fisher restraining her on her bed. Her screams forced Fisher to release her and flee the room. In the hallway, Fisher encountered and briefly grappled with the victim's mother before escaping through the kitchen, basement, and attached garage. The Upper Southampton Police Department was called to the scene. When officers arrived at the home and searched the daughter's bedroom, they found a large kitchen knife left on the victim's bed and a 12-foot extension cord on the floor beside it. Investigators also learned that Fisher drove away from the home in a black sedan, along with AirPods, identification, credit and debit cards, and a U.S. passport stolen from the women. As authorities tell it, it was technology connected to the audio device that helped them track down their suspect. Ha ha, stupid. Law enforcement successfully tracked Fisher in real time by utilizing the Find My stolen AirPods. The DA said, referring to the technology that allows people to locate their lost or misplaced Bluetooth headphones. The tracking signal led officers from Upper Southampton down the Pennsylvania Turnpike and through Delaware County before stopping near Aramingo Avenue and East Somerset Street in Philadelphia. Well, now you know where it happened. Investigators worked with the Philadelphia Police Department to find Fisher resting inside a black 2014 Kia Forte. To confirm the suspect's identity, an Upper Southampton officer remotely activated the AirPods. which emitted an audible tone from inside the vehicle. Fisher was immediately detained and later made substantive admissions to investigators. Bucks County First Assistant District Attorney Kristen McElroy underscored the psychological effects of the crime, calling the incident the most frightening kind of burglary. The younger woman said she has a constant sense of whenever I'm alone at night, a constant sense of fear whenever I'm alone at night, and that normal night noises now trigger a full-blown panic. The mother said she struggles with lasting fear, severe anxiety, and disturbed sleep after encountering Fisher in her home. Yeah, plus the idea that he's going to be out in a couple of years. You know? There's a lot of massive lines crossed here that's just not being taken seriously. Oh, man, I didn't put the power. He just wanted to steal stuff. Sure, he was going to steal, but there was a lot worse probably going to happen. I mean, he breaks into the house, immediately goes to the daughter, ready to tie her up. Yeah, and you're going to give him 4.5 years. You know. Now, look, if he's a really nasty prisoner, he's going to have to do the full 10, but no, he'll be a model prisoner. He'll behave. He's in a controlled environment. They function well in that, criminals do. And then he's good to go. I think he's learned his lesson. Yeah. What are the odds these women will be at the grocery store and, hey, look, there's Fisher. Yeah. Well, anyway, Nodak says Anna L. Fisher. The rabbit sounds like he just wanted free electronic. Yeah. He just wanted the AirPods, you know. I don't know what he wanted the passport for. Anyway, why else would you bring an extension lead? Yeah, that's true. You know, you want to make sure, you know, you can charge that up. Anyway, there you go. A woman's worst nightmare. I mean, it would be pretty bad for a man, too. You know, it's just, in that case, look, maybe he did just want the AirPods, you know. So, landlord, he would have to take care of it himself. Well, he gave a warning. A Wisconsin man upset about his upstairs neighbor's noise shot and killed the victim after vowing to the landlord that he would take care of it himself. Joshua Jordan, 32, is in the Milwaukee County Jail on charges of first-degree intentional homicide, use of a dangerous weapon, operating a vehicle to flee or elude an officer, and first-degree recklessly endangering safety in connection with the death of 42-year-old Gregory McLouie Jr. The shooting occurred on a Wednesday. All right. Jordan lived in a first-floor apartment at a complex on North 94th Street in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and McLouie lived right above him. The two men had ongoing disagreements, citing the man's landlord, who told investigators that over the last month, the defendant has been complaining about the victim being too loud at all hours of the day and night. The landlord reportedly had texts from Jordan, including one from May 9th, in which the suspect threatened to kill the victim. But, you know, he didn't really believe him. But then, at about 8:25 a.m., the landlord said Jordan called him complaining about the noise in the victim's apartment. About 30 minutes later, the landlord got another phone call from the defendant, per the complaint. Jordan allegedly said that if the landlord would not deal with the noise, the defendant would take care of it himself. McLouie was not alone in his apartment that morning. His teenage son was there too, and the son said that McLouie was at work until he came home at about 9:40 a.m. So the noise might have been the son, right? Like, you know, he had the TV too loud or he's playing music too loud, something like that. The son stated that his dad had previously told him that their downstairs neighbor had contacted the landlord and was making a noise complaint about them, which has been an ongoing issue between the victim and that particular neighbor. The son stated that when the victim got home, he heard the downstairs neighbor arguing in the hallway with the victim, so he went near their front door and stood there to see what was happening. The son started recording the interaction, and it was at this time that he saw that the downstairs neighbor was armed with a black handgun. Jordan was allegedly yelling threats at the victim, and the victim was walking away. Jordan then reportedly started firing shots at the victim, and McLuey ran to their apartment and shut the door. But the suspect apparently continued after him and kicked the door open. The son managed to slam the door closed and lock it, but when he checked on his father, he saw that the victim had been shot in the chest. McLuey did not say anything as he couldn't speak after he had been shot. So the son called 911. Officers with Milwaukee Police Department arrived at the scene and found McLuey on the floor inside his apartment with apparent gunshot wounds to his chest. Emergency personnel tried to save him, but he was pronounced dead. In the main upper hallway of the complex leading from the stairs to the victim's apartment, investigators said they found an unfired 9mm Luger Hornady cartridge and a fired casing. There was blood present and damage to McLuey's apartment, including damage to the front door consistent with the door getting kicked in. There was also a shoe print on the door, which a detective stated appeared to be the shoe print of a Nike Air Max 95. Officers also spoke with another neighbor who said she was in her kitchen when she heard loud banging and tussling like somebody was fighting in the hallway. She walked out into the hallway and saw a man, alleged to be Jordan, bent over the waist approximately 10 to 15 feet away with a black semi-automatic handgun in his right hand. She described the suspect racking the slide back and forth on the gun, and then said she heard the suspect said, "I told that expletive to stop fucking with me." The defendant allegedly grabbed bullets from the floor and put them in his pants pocket. And when he turned to see the neighbor, she had both her hands in the air and said, "Please don't shoot me," to which he responded, "I'm not going to shoot you." Before officers arrived, Jordan is alleged to have driven away in a black Audi. Police searched for the vehicle, and when they spotted it, the suspect reportedly sped up to 100 miles per hour and tried to evade them for up to 4 miles. He crashed, and police arrested him. Authorities say Jordan was wearing Nike Air Max 95 sneakers, just like the one they left the print on the door. It must be him. And that's when they searched his apartment, they found a gun box with loose Hornady 9mm Luger unfired cartridges. So there you go. That's pretty, open and shut. He just really didn't like the noise, And I guess God damn, I did it again. How does that even... Okay, you got to do it like that. Man, why can't you learn? Why can't you learn? I apologize. So anyway, there you go. That's just not how you deal with a noise complaint. You complain and you gripe and groan about it and you do all of that, and then you just have to live with it. That's usually how it goes. However, my guess is the actual noise. Either the son was doing it or something of that nature, because it says there that the father was at work and he's coming home from work and the guy confronts him as he's headed towards his apartment at that point. So I'm wondering if the son was blaring music or something like that. And the guy's like, "Damn it, there it goes again." But he had just been complaining about it to the landlord and says, "If you don't do anything, I'm going to do something," and that sort of thing. So I'm guessing that either the son was, or he's already upset about a previous incident And then he waits for the guy to show up, and he confronts him. And the guy blew him off, I guess, or whatever. And so then he pulls out the gun and just starts shooting him. So I can only speculate, of course, as to what exactly took place there. But nevertheless, you can't shoot a guy just because, his TV's too loud. I'm pretty sure about that. I'm no lawyer. I just dress like one. But I'm pretty sure you can't go and do stuff like that. Exposing them. This is a Rumble ad or something. I don't know. NASA never a straight answer. Oh, about the UFOs and stuff. Yeah. Well, everybody's got their own camera now. Instantly. You don't need NASA to find the picture, You really don't. You can go and get it and prove it to everyone. All right, what's this guy's story? Well, I don't know. Let's find out. Come on. Man allegedly told cops he would be back to stalk U.S. Border Patrol agent ex-girlfriend after spying on her with drone. Well, all right. A Texas man stalked his ex-girlfriend, who serves as a U.S. Border Patrol agent, by using a drone to watch her house, and later told cops he would be back. I'll be back to spy on her because the laws are pointless. To watch her house and later told cops. See, the way this is written is like he's the one who said he'll be back. But I think it's her saying it. I don't know. Anyway, Cristobal Gonzalez stands accused of stalking, theft of property, and criminal trespass. Deputies responded to a family violence call around 7:30 a.m. At a home on the 600 block of Paseo Modesto Drive. The victim told cops Gonzalez followed her to her home, damaged her property, and that she feared for her life based on previous incidents involving her ex-boyfriend. Okay, so now we understand the relationship. Cops also recovered surveillance footage that allegedly showed Gonzalez using a drone to watch the house. Investigators found a drone and a controller while serving a warrant on his car. A criminal complaint obtained by the El Paso Times said that when the victim answered the door for deputies responding to her home, she was wearing her CBP uniform and was crying hysterically. She said she and Gonzalez share a child together, but are no longer dating. She reportedly explained how she picked up her son after work and drove home. As she was pulling into her garage, she said she saw Gonzalez's vehicle parked in the street. She hurried inside and closed the garage door before Gonzalez could get in. Gonzalez allegedly knocked on the door several times and ripped down a Ring camera. She grabbed her CBP-issued firearm and prepared to fire if Gonzalez busted into her home. Cops had been to the home for domestic-related incidents on 2 prior occasions. Deputies later located Gonzalez at the 13,000 block of Powick Drive and took him into custody without incident. As deputies were arresting him, he apparently said he wanted to plead the Fifth. Later, while in a holding cell, he reportedly blurted out, "I'll be back. The laws are pointless." So I guess that he did say it. All right, okay. Gonzalez was booked into the El Paso County Detention Facility on a bond of $27,000. Well, he posted it, so he's out. The top job you get, The prominent cop who reportedly had loud sex with federal judge Eleanor Ross has been identified as a deputy chief of the Atlanta Police Department. Kelly Collier was unmasked as the high-ranking official who had a steamy affair with the married jurist appointed in the Obama era, according to Bloomberg Law, which cited a person familiar with the situation. Collier, 55, is the Community Services Division Commander with the Atlanta PD. The department said it was looking into the salacious situation. I'll bet. So, yeah. The Atlanta Police Department has launched an investigation to determine if the person mentioned in the Committee on Judicial Conduct and Disability of the Judicial Conference of the United States is indeed an employee of the Atlanta Police Department. Ross, 58, and Collier had sex in chambers and during business hours. That was loud enough that court staff could hear moans and kissing sounds. I wonder if they're like on the desk and they hit the, like, maybe they have an intercom, button, and they rolled over on that. You could hear it all the way down the hall. Anyway, the New York Post emailed Collier, but the reply said he was out of the office. Sure. The committee did not identify the judge or law enforcement officer in this report, but the pair were revealed by Bloomberg Law. For 2 years, the subject judge was a federal district judge who routinely heard criminal cases engaged in a secret extramarital relationship with a prominent officer of a large law enforcement agency in the judge's district. The committee also said the cop in question serves as a commander of a certain division and has served Atlanta since 1998, which Bloomberg Law reported matches with Collier's bio and is now Internet's forever. Collier has a passion for analytics, computer technology, and efficient management strategies, and he applies these skills daily to achieve positive outcomes for the department. Well, he also has a passion for, women in judge robes. Ross, who became a U.S. District Court judge for the Northern District of Georgia in 2014, was also dinged for attending a partisan political event and making false statements to judges, probing her conduct. The judge, who is married to Georgia State Court Judge Brian Ross, oh no, received a private reprimand for the conduct. Really? That's it? I mean, you're cheating on your husband with another man. You're cheating on your husband with another man, all that. But this man is a top cop in the department, and he's in your district, so you're going to hear cases that could involve his department. So obviously, you'd have to recuse yourself. But then to recuse yourself, you now have to admit, maybe, just maybe, man back in trouble over crack pun. I wonder what this could be about. For decades, a chiropractic clinic in Florida has used a marquee sign outside its office to host a rotating series of puns aimed at catching the attention of motorists passing by on the adjacent interstate. Yeah. The adjustment humor has included such winners as "We never crack under pressure," "It's easier to throw out your back than your mother-in-law," "We won't stop until everyone is cracked up," and "Our Easter adjustments are excellent." Until recently, the two-sided sign, which changes every few weeks, declared "Licensed crack dealer." According to police, the clinic sign was vandalized by a 23-year-old man who used landscape bricks and a branch to smash the sign, damaging the letters, message boards, and interior lights. When confronted by cops, Benjamin Fragile spontaneously advised the sign message was "licensed crack dealer," and he thought that was illegal. Fraggle showed no indication of drug or alcohol influence or any mental health issues. Well, I'd question that a bit, But anyway, Fraggle, why Fraggle did not get the joke or actually believe that cocaine was being openly advertised is not addressed in the court records. It's just too stupid, Since the Palm Harbor Clinic's owner estimated the damage to the sign significantly exceeded $1,000, Fraggle was arrested for felony criminal mischief. He was booked into the county jail where he is locked up in lieu of $5,000 bond. Fraggle's rap sheet includes convictions for trespass, probation violation, obstruction, and battery for punching his father in the jaw. In November 2024, Fraggle was arrested for allegedly punching his father in the head and hitting him in the ribs with a metal baseball bat after being told to go to bed because he was intoxicated. So he's still living with his dad. Prosecutors subsequently decided to drop the aggravated battery with a deadly weapon charge. Why? Why did you do that? Well, maybe his dad said, well, I don't want him to go to prison. Are you making a mistake, Dad? Also, why is he still at your house? No mental health issues, huh? And I guess at the time of his arrest, he wasn't stoned or drunk. But that doesn't mean he's not an addict or drunk. He's just an asshole, But he was going to make a stand against crack cocaine. But it was just a joke. Against Texas embalmer charged with funeral home mutilation. I think I did a story on this one. Yeah, I think so. So this is like a follow-up. An update, no less. Anyway, as part of an agreement with prosecutors, a criminal case has been dropped against the Texas embalmer who last year allegedly mutilated the corpse of a sex offender and then stuffed the decedent's severed penis in his mouth. A felony charge against Amber Loudermilk, 36, was bounced in Harris County District Court. A judge granted a dismissal motion filed by prosecutors who noted that an alternative resolution agreement was struck with Loudermilk. In its motion, the prosecution offered a one-line description of that agreement. Explanation: defendant completed a class for dismissal. A class for dismissal, like a class on how to be dismissed, Anyway, oh wait, the complaint's dismissal and the class is not further explained. Oh, well, never mind. So, how do you get dismissed? Well, our course will tell you how. Anyway, according to Texas Funeral Service Commission records, Loudermilk's embalmer's license, which was suspended following her March arrest, expired at the same time the abuse of corpse charge was dismissed. So, can she renew it? Investigators allege that Loudermilk used a scalpel to disfigure the corpse of Charles Roy Rodriguez, 58, a registered sex offender who lived outside Houston. The mutilation occurred shortly after a memorial mortuary and crematory workers learned of Rodriguez's criminal history. As alleged in a court complaint, a provisional embalmer told cops that she saw Loudermilk stabbed decedent Rodriguez twice with a scalpel in the groin and then cut off his penis and placed it in the decedent's mouth. Loudermilk, cops say, told the witness, "You didn't see anything." But apparently the witness did see it. A funeral director said she saw Loudermilk fondling the mouth of the decedent, adding that the decedent's penis was in his mouth. What? She was fondling the mouth. So she was... You mean you saw her as she was putting it in there, right? Not that she was fondling it? Yeah. Well, anyway, she found out he was a sex offender, and, she was pretty disgusted by the guy and all that stuff. Doesn't really do a whole lot now that he's dead, of course. And she was just so disgusted, she just wanted to mutilate the corpse. And I don't know, they figured, well, nobody gives a crap about this guy. So I guess you can take this little course. And if you take the course and you get an A, then we'll just forget the whole thing and you can move on. Still don't know if she's going to be able to work as an embalmer. But I don't know, maybe so. She says, look, I don't do that to all the corpses, just the sex offenders. And a lot of people are like, well, all right. Yeah. But then again, what if he was wrongfully accused? Well, I mean, it's nasty and everything, but I mean, he's dead. So, I mean, it's not like he's going to use it anymore, you know. So, anyway, there you go. Weird things happen at funeral homes, you know, and she just really didn't like this guy. You know, and I can understand. So, not that she knew him or anything. She didn't. But, you know, she knew he was a sex offender. Because, well, they made him register as one. Yeah. Oh, well, that's how they, you know. Anyway, so are shelling out tens of thousands for the privilege of a private house call or even a yacht call to get it. A gynecologist told the Post. Size has always mattered in one of the world's richest summer playgrounds, but now it's the women, from sex-obsessed housewives to husband hunters to swingers, demanding peak sexual performance. We know men like to have the biggest penis. You mean their own, right? But now women, oh my God, they don't want, are demanding to upgrade their sexual equipment, said Dr. Amir Marashi, a designer gynecologist. Well, that's a field, huh? I mean, I guess. Who recently opened his first Hamptons office in Sag Harbor to kick off summer season. Yeah. I want to have the tightest pussy in the Hamptons, one patient declared to the unfazed doc. Yeah, he gets that all the time. Who caters to jet-setting patients around the world, making house calls to mansions and castles, or the yacht via private helicopter for a minimum of $20,000. Wow. Wild Hampton sex and swinger parties demand nothing less than confidence-boosting tune-ups. From G-zone injections for better orgasms to mini vaginoplasty for a tightened vaginal canal and surrounding muscles. The board-certified gynecologist boldly declared, I promise you'll have the best orgasms in the Hamptons. But life isn't always easy being a vagina whisperer, says the 47-year-old cosmetic surgeon. Yeah. Patients have propositioned him for sex too many times, inviting him to test his work personally. When the married doc insisted, he always gently declines. Sure. Somebody may feel, well, he's a doctor or he's a vagina whisperer, but it's absolutely a no-no, insisted Marashi, an Iranian native whose father was a surgeon. For his loyal patients who have more than one wife, there's even a little healthy competition between the multiple spouses. Well, okay. Well, after attending to the wife of a minister in Dubai, Marashi said he received a flurry of unusual requests. 4 other women come, and they're all his wives, and each of them would say, I want to be the tightest one. I want to be the tightest one, the doc recalled. As the Hampton season gets in full swing, Marashi is prepping for a yacht call. I'm doing orgasm injections for a guy, his wife, and I believe his wife's girlfriend. Okay. Said the doc, who recommends immediate sex sessions to activate the recharged organs. So you want to You want to hop right in as soon as possible. Still, discretion is critical for his Hamptons patients. Yeah, when's that going to start? One patient didn't want me to go to their house from the front, so they wound up sending a boat for me, docking, because the whole neighborhood knows the guy by now, docking, docking, right into the back entrance. Well, of course. One patient says the treatment changed her life and her sex life. I literally tell him he took me from point A to OMG. Longtime patient Michelle gushed to the Post. After strong exorcism treatments derived from stem cells, she heard angels singing during sex, the kind of pleasure I only read about. Wow. Well, that's quite an advertisement for Vagina Whisperer, So there you go. That's all you got to do. You got to go get the doctor to tighten you up. And next thing you know, well, you're having sex. Only, it'll be fun this time. Available now. Oh, wait, I got to put the link in the chat. That'll make it easy for you. I guess when the video just goes up as a video, I'll have to put it in there too. But anyway, that's what you do. Oh, you're seeing all that. And then you head over to this Mixum thing. Will it be over at Indie Planet? I hope so, but there's been some stumbling blocks. So here you can head over there. 40 pages. Oh, boy. And it's the second issue of Doodleverse Comics, featuring all your favorite Doodleverse characters, or Dabbleverse characters, rather. I don't know. I thought I'd get in trouble if I just called it Dabbleverse Comics, so I pussied out and called it Doodleverse. It's probably stupid. Not really taking full advantage of the whole thing. Just a stupid idiot. God damn it. Why can't I do anything right? Oh, crap. This is still on. Anyway, so there it is. Printed in color. Well, not all of it, but most of it. So there you go. Here you get an idea what it'll look like. Oh, look, it's the douche. Now, so far, I think for the most part, this is held up. He said he was quitting, and he means it, so there you go. A little introduction. There's Aaron sitting there welcoming you to his bed. And here's Chad Zumach wondering where everything went wrong. And his guardian angel, Melton, explains to him, it's because you're dumb, nerd. You're dumb. And he still doesn't get it. It just goes on, and he's constantly got Melton floating around, and he just won't listen to him. Here he is at one point, I guess, was thinking about Kate Meany. Maybe not as much as John, but I think he had a thing for her for a while anyway. Anyway, so there you go. And once again, Melton reminds him, because you're dumb, nerd. You're dumb. And he still doesn't listen. Here we got a comic strip where I used Karmic as a doctor called Dr. Kratom X, MD. And here he is. We get demonstrations of his bedside manner and all that. And here he is offering a prescription for Mr. Kill Everything. And it doesn't go well. And here he is walking his pet roach. Here's what's his name from Stonies when he got mad at Melton saying he's not brainwashed. So I depicted him as brainwashed. Another Chad Zumach strip where he's looking for Mersh, and then his girlfriend tells him that was very foolish and it could have been very troubling and stuff, and so she breaks up with him. It's all very sad. And then there's Melton using a laser pointer to tease Chad Zumach, who keeps chasing it, much like a little cat. So anyway, there's also a gallery of doodles I've done. They're all black and white. Some of them are people I've met. Others are characters from but these are people I have met from time to time. Yeah. I remember her. Boy, was she sick that day. And yeah, this lady showed up wearing that outfit. Every now and then there's something nice like that happens. Yeah. So anyway, there's like a few pages of those. Some of them are based on some of the Dabbleverse videos of characters. You see, they're not even Dabbleverse characters. They're just like some of the arrest videos and stuff like that. The rest, I remember this guy walking around with his little wagon. It was like one of those, the radio flyer wagons. I was like, wow, it's been a while since I've seen one of those up close. And all his belongings were in it, including the flies. Yeah. Man, she's still around, but most of these people, well, I mean, some of them, they're all right. They're fine. But some of them, you don't see them anymore. They get replaced by new ones. Yeah. Well, anyway, that's, there's a whole lot more of that in there. 40 pages. Oh, boy. It's great. So you head over to the link and you order yourself your Doodleverse comics. Oh, boy. It's great, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So the other main store that I've been using, so there's Doodleverse 1 over at indieplanet.com. I can go ahead and put that in the chat too, which I will do. Oh, great. Now me looking at me. Oh, that's embarrassing. So anyway, there we go. The Night comics, if they would show up, and Sun King. There you go. Oh boy, it's more of Doug Nelson's silly comic book efforts. But all you got to do is head over there and order yourself a copy. The first one, nowhere near as big as the second one of Doodleverse. It's only 16 pages because I was in a hurry. And but there you go. There's still, boy, it keeps coming back to that your dumb nerd theme. This is when Chad was obsessing about Carl. He says, why is everything so wrong? And, of course, Milton said, because you're dumb, nerd. You're dumb. Kevin, of course. The glory days of Steel Toe, all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of that there. So you can enjoy all these wonders at indieplanet.com/Douglas-Nelson. Anyway.
Nelson News. Just your meat to take a walk down the street while killers be killing and killing and killing.